What if I told you that the last 5 jobs you applied for, a human never even saw your resume? Not because you weren't qualified, not because the company wasn't hiring, but because a piece of software decided in about 6 seconds that you weren't worth a recruiter's time. That's not a hypothetical. That's what's happening right now in 2026. And if you don't understand how these systems work, you're not just competing against other candidates. You're competing against an algorithm that was never designed to find the best person for the job. It was designed to eliminate the most people in the least amount of time. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly what's changed, what these AI hiring systems actually do, and, most importantly, how to get past them. Because you can beat them, you just have to stop playing by rules that no longer exist. Before we get into it, thanks to InterviewMate for sponsoring this episode. You paste in any job description, they generate interview questions and answers tailored to that specific role. Practice with real questions before your interview. Check them out at interviewmate.ai. Let's start with what actually happened, because this shift didn't happen overnight, it just feels that way. For decades, the hiring process worked roughly the same way. You'd send a resume, a human recruiter would read it, maybe skim it, and sort you into a yes pile, a no pile, or a maybe pile. Was it perfect? No. Resumes got lost, people had biases, sometimes the best candidate got skipped because the recruiter was having a bad day. But at least a person looked at your application. Starting around 2020, companies began adopting what's broadly called applicant tracking systems, a TS for short. You've probably heard of these, they've been around for a while. But what most people don't realize is how dramatically these systems have evolved in just the past 2 years. We're not talking about simple keyword filters anymore. The ATS systems of 2026 are powered by large language models. They're not just scanning for the word Python on your resume, they're reading your entire application, interpreting context, evaluating how your experience narrative matches the job description, and scoring you. Some of them are even analyzing your cover letter tone and writing style. And here's the number that should concern you. Industry reports from early 2026 suggest that at companies using advanced AI screening, somewhere around 75% of applications are rejected before a human ever touches them. 3 out of 4, gone before a recruiter even opens the file. So let's talk about why this matters to you personally. The first thing you need to understand is that these systems don't think the way a human recruiter thinks. A human recruiter might see your resume, notice you switched careers and think, that's interesting. This person has a diverse background. Let me read more. An AI screening tool sees a career switch and often interprets it as a mismatch. Lack of linear progression. It's not malicious, it's just math. The model was trained on data from people who got hired, and those people tended to have linear career paths. So it rewards linearity and penalizes everything else. This creates a real problem for career changers, for people coming back from gaps, for anyone whose path doesn't follow a straight line. The AI doesn't have curiosity. It doesn't think, tell me more. It thinks next. And that's just the resume stage. Many companies now also use AI-powered video interview tools. You record yourself answering questions, and the AI evaluates your word choice, your response structure, sometimes even your pacing and clarity. Some older systems used to analyze facial expressions, but most major platforms have moved away from that after the backlash. Still, the point is, a machine is evaluating you before you ever speak with a real person. Alright, so that's the landscape. Let's get into the part you actually came here for. What do you do about it? Strategy number 1, reverse engineer the job description. This is the single most impactful thing you can do in 2026. The AI is comparing your resume against the job description. That's its primary reference point. So you need to treat every job description like a blueprint. Here's what I mean. Take the job description and break it down into 3 categories. First, required hard skills. These are the non-negotiables: specific tools, certifications, languages, platforms. Second, described responsibilities. These tell you what the AI expects to see in your experience section. Third, soft skill language. The way the company describes the ideal candidate: collaborative, self-starter, detail-oriented. These phrases matter because the AI is looking for semantic matches, not just exact keywords. Now, once you've done that breakdown, rebuild your resume to mirror that structure. I'm not saying lie, I'm saying translate. If you managed a team and the job says lead cross-functional initiatives, change your bullet point to reflect that language. Same experience, different framing. The AI can understand synonyms to a degree, but you're making its job easier when you speak its language. And when you make the AI's job easier, you get a higher score. Strategy number 2, kill the fancy formatting. I know. You spent 2 hours on that beautiful 2-column resume with the icons and the color-coded skill bars. And it looks great. To a human. To an AI parser, it's a nightmare. Multi-column layouts, text boxes, headers and footers, embedded images, infographics, all of these can cause parsing errors. The AI reads your resume as raw text, and if the parser can't extract that text cleanly, your resume gets garbled. I've seen cases where a perfectly qualified candidate was rejected because the parser read their job titles as part of the company address. The information was there, it just wasn't readable. So what works? Single column, standard section headings, experience, education, skills, simple bullet points, a clean, readable font, no text boxes. It's boring, I know. But boring gets parsed correctly, and parsed correctly means scored accurately. If you want a polished, designed version, keep one for in-person networking or when you're emailing someone directly. But for online applications going through a system, clean and simple wins. Strategy number 3, optimize the first third of your resume. Here's something most people don't think about. These AI systems often weight the top of your resume more heavily. Think about it. That's how humans read too, top to bottom, and the models were trained on human behavior patterns. So your resume summary or professional profile at the top is prime real estate. Use that space to pack in your strongest keyword matches and your most relevant qualifications. Don't waste it on vague statements like results-driven professional seeking new opportunities. That tells the AI nothing. Strategy number 4, don't ignore the application fields. A lot of people rush through the actual application form, the text boxes, the drop-downs, the additional information sections. Don't. Many AI systems evaluate these fields separately from your resume. If there's a field asking, "Why are you interested in this role?" that's not a throwaway. That's another data point the AI is scoring. Write specific, tailored answers. Reference the company by name. Reference the role. Include relevant keywords naturally. Treat every text field like it's being read by a very literal, very thorough evaluator. Because it is. Strategy number 5, go around the system entirely. This is the strategy nobody talks about, and it's arguably the most effective one of all. The AI only screens you if you enter through the front door, the online application portal. If someone internally refers you or forwards your resume to the hiring manager directly, you often skip the AI screen entirely. Networking has always mattered, but in 2026, it's not just a nice to have. It's a competitive necessity. I'm not talking about sending cold LinkedIn messages that say, "I'd love to pick your brain." I'm talking about targeted, genuine outreach to people who work at companies you want to join. Comment on their posts, share their work, build an actual connection over a few weeks, and when a role opens up, ask if they'd be willing to pass along your application. An internal referral at most companies flags your application for human review, sometimes automatically. This is how the majority of hires still happen, by the way. Internal referrals, employee recommendations, personal connections. The AI is the gatekeeper for the front door, but there's a side door, and it's called knowing someone who works there. Start building those relationships now, before you need them. Strategy number 6. Understand that AI screening is not the final boss. Here's something important to keep in perspective. Even if you do everything right and get past the AI, you still have to interview well. The AI is a filter, not a decision maker. It decides who gets considered, but a human still makes the hire. So don't become so focused on keyword optimization that you forget to be a compelling candidate in conversation. The best approach is both. Optimize your materials for the machine and then be a genuine, prepared, thoughtful human in the interview. Because once you're past the bots, the game goes back to being human, and that's where you can really stand out. Let me leave you with this. The hiring landscape in 2026 is frustrating. There's no getting around that. Applying for jobs has never felt more impersonal. But understanding how the system works gives you a real advantage over the majority of applicants who are still operating like it's 2019. They're still sending the same generic resume to every opening and wondering why they're not hearing back. You now know the game has changed, and more importantly, you know the new rules. Tailor your materials for each application. Keep your formatting clean and passable. Front-load your strongest qualifications. Fill in every application field with intention. Build relationships that let you bypass the system. And once you're past the bots, show up as the real, prepared, human candidate that no AI can replicate. The bots are filtering. You're not going to change that. But you can absolutely learn to pass through the filter and come out the other side. Quick reminder, check out InterviewMate at interviewmate.ai. Paste any job description. Get tailored interview questions with answers. When you finally get that interview, you want to be ready. 3 questions free, link in the description. If this episode helped, share it with someone who's currently job searching. They need to hear this. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one, and I'll see you in the next episode.